right. Well, hello, all happy traders out there. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Hope everybody's having a good week and getting ready for a good weekend. All right, let's quickly go through some of our administrational items and then we can jump into the charts. Now, also a couple little things here. Please remember to type in your stocks you want me to look at in caps. That's really helpful to me in the comments section. So whatever platform you're on there, you can type those in. And, if you're on YouTube, you just type them right into the comments area and we're good to go. All right, let me cover those things I have to cover here. First thing I want to make sure everybody does is like, subscribe, and share. The more viewers we get coming here each and every Friday, the more opportunities we can uncover. And it really turns almost into like a stock picking service, because everybody brings a few stocks and we probably will uncover some that are really good that you may not be aware of. And likewise, if you have a stock you're in or thinking about going in and you want a second opinion, hey, you're at the right place. That's what we do here. All right, quick thing on risk. Everybody, I think, realizes that there is risk involved in trading the financial markets. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. But we want you to be aware that we work in a realm of probabilities. There's no guarantees when we trade the market at all. And therefore, it's possible to lose some or all of your money trading the financial markets or even investing your money in the markets. That's why it's a good idea to contact your financial advisor, your money manager, and make sure the stocks that we look at today, if you want to take one of those, are suitable for you because they know your personal situation. And of course, we do not. Really important to know money management. And I got to tell you, we just released a brand new book that can help you in this area. That's the book on the far right called Money Management for Traders. Okay. I'll put the link below in the recording of this so you have that. But you can actually go to Amazon and get that book. It's very inexpensive. I think it's just around 15 bucks or so, maybe just under. And what I did in this new book, it's not a very thick book, but it is a very precise book on how to implement a money management strategy. So it's an easy read and there's concepts in there you can use and formulas you can use right away for an active trader. I have other books available on Amazon too, some of which covers the Elliott wave. We use a lot of that in our analysis, and the art of trading, which stands for applied reality trading, which is our trading approach. And then we have a more in-depth book on money management on the far left. And then, of course, Survival Guide for Traders, which brings the realm of active trading into your home so you can run it just like a professional hedge fund. So those are the books available. And then finally, too, we have a lot of great software tools. I've been doing this for a long time. These software tools are the culmination of what I found works in the market best. So check them out. We have charting software. We have scanners. We have risk control software. So you name it, we got it. All right. Go to our website and check it out. And then finally, I just want to thank everybody for attending. All right. It's great to have you here. All right. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, before I get going on the actual stocks here, a couple of things. Last week, I think we looked at NNOX. So I've got that in front of you. You should be able to see that right now. All right. Good. I think everybody looks good here. Okay, so NNOX, this was a possible buy. We thought we had a bottom in here, and it seems to be doing or behaving as expected for a bullish correction into this target zone. So it looks good. So I like NNX. This was one we recommended last week. I still like it today. Doesn't mean we won't get a pullback, but if you put that stop at the very, very bottom, you should be able to hang in there. And if we get stopped out, then you want to leave because that means it's not a bottom, right? So it's very important. Hey, quick thing to go over here. Notice my charting platform. I'm using NinjaTrader right now, but our software works on TradeStation, multi-charts, MT4 and 5, and eSignal as well. And on NinjaTrader, I have my scanners up here running, and then I have 3 charts. The one on the left is a 60-minute chart, and this is to look at the short-term market on that particular stock I'm looking at. This is the daily, which gives me the intermediate trend, and the weekly chart on the far right, which is the longer term aspect. So notice the symbol is exactly the same on all charts. So I like to look at the short term, intermediate, and long-term aspect of anything I'm analyzing, because that is using multiple time frame analysis in order to make my entries and exit decisions, as well as even scaling out at times. So whenever I look at a stock, I always analyze all 3 time frames. So if we look at this one more time, we can see bullishness here, bullishness here. These are some of the indicators. This is called the OWL, which measures momentum. This is called the PTF, which tells us if we're going to get another high, and it's green, and it's green, and it's green. So the lower time frames are looking real good. We're trying to get an early entry into this particular correction up to around $29.50, and we're sitting at $12.30. So if we make it, we're going to double our money on this. We're getting it a little early. We're going a little bit against the longer term charts, but that's what we have to do if we want to get in early enough on corrections to make it to the target zone. So I'm liking that a lot. All right, let's see what you guys got cooking out there. Let me just roll through here. And Stuart, how are you doing? Stuart says it's hot today. That's because he's in San Diego, which is where we are. We're getting Santa Ana winds. I think we got up to almost 100 degrees yesterday, and I think it's going to be more of the same, Stuart. All right, so Al, I think I'll start out with you. I think you're the first one. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody before you. All right, I think we're good. Yep. Okay, RKT for you, Al. RK2. All right, Al, let's see what we got cooking here. Now, I don't know, you're short on this bad boy. All right, hopefully you've been short a while. Short position is where you'd want to be on this. Now, let me show you a couple things. On our software called the Applied Reality Trading Software, it actually had you short here, right? So there it is. And then basically you'd scroll down on those particular stop loss areas. So you've got now, we're close, I think, Al, probably to a bottom on this one. It's a little too early to say. We've got bullish divergence building in our momentum indicator called the OWL. We no longer have a red PTF on the 60-minute chart. So, you know, if you took this trade back in here with the red PTF, we were looking for lows lower than this point here, which was the lowest low in that red area. That's how the PTF works. It basically says, okay, if we have a area where the market sells off to and rebounds and creates a red PTF, then there's a 75% probability, believe it or not, 75%, that's correct, that it's going to return and make another low. And that's exactly what it did. Now, the PTF doesn't tell you when that's going to happen or how the pullback is going to look when that happens, but it did happen. So you're looking pretty good here. We've had a number of pyramids in a row, so you know we're getting close to the bottom of the trend. After 4 or 5, it kind of gets a little dicey in terms of the trend continuing in that direction. We've got 4 in the weekly. Couple of things. We have a very strong weekly momentum to the downside still. We have bullish coming in here, and we have slightly bullish here, no longer a red here. I'd have my stop right here if I was short there, Al, because I think you're going to get a correction on this. So let's just see what that would take a look like if we brought the data box up. So I would put your stop here. Let me open this up a little bit. Right at $11.71. Okay, $11.71. How's that sound? All right, let's take a look at CSX. You're also short there. And we'll take a look and see what's cooking on that one. All right, so we've actually been moving to the upside here. Looks like we may be coming down. Looks like we're going to have a little bit more lower lows here. It's hard to know if we're going into a major 4. So here's the situation. All right, we have bearish divergence here, but technically this uptrend is not cracked until it goes below this particular low on the weekly. So you're going to have some volatility in here. This is the preferred time frame to trade short-term trades, and it is bearish. And again, if we go down a little further, your stop is going to be right about here. So I don't like this one as much as I like the other one you had. I think this one is a little bit more in a more volatile type of range bound market. And you can see it from here to here. See how it's kind of range bound here and here. So I don't know exactly what your target is on this, but I would say if you get one more low, I'd stay short. And if you get one more low, then maybe scale out if this turns yellow, because I know you have our software. And at the same time, bring your stop down here. That's the best way I would handle that trade. And you probably can get out of that with a profit. Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. Al says he just bought the new book. Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. All right. NNOX. Yes, that was an Al one. We looked at that this morning. Patricia, how are you? TEK. TEK. Let's take a look at that one. And you are long that one. Okay. All right. Long is a good place to be on this one. All right. So now, all right, you've enjoyed the trend up. We had a little bit of what's interesting here is the PTF on this time frame here. It says we're going to eventually back down below 36. So right here, the PTF on this time frame here says we're going below here. All right, but you have a stop here anyway, so you're all set. I would stay long, put your stop here at this particular point. I don't know exactly when you got in, but let's quickly take a look at the data box. And I would say probably a stop at $38.78. Looks about right for that, and that should protect you in case this thing reverses. Now, a couple things on this. Now, if your intentions, Patricia, are to make this a long-term trade, focus primarily on the weekly chart then over here. We have a lot of bullish momentum here. Okay, yeah, it could come back, but the stop is way down here, giving this particular long-term trade a lot of room to correct and then go higher. So I do think probably we will continue on this bullish trend. I think we're getting closer to a point where we could go into a correction. Notice this is getting closer to the corrective zone here. So we have to be a little heads up. So it all depends on your intentions. If you're a long-term holder on this versus a short-term active trader. If you're a short-term active trader, use that stop I gave you based on the chart in the center, which is our daily chart. Excellent. All right, Stuart, Microsoft, MSFT. Let's check and see how that bad boy is doing here. All right, so Microsoft, you know, we looked at that, I think, last week as well. And we feel that that is now going into a longer term correction. So if this is a 3, okay, in terms of whenever I write a number, that means it's an Elliott wave count. And there's basically 5 waves in a trend. So this is 3, and then wave 4 is a correction in that trend. And then the continuation of the trend is on wave 5, and then the trend ends. So I think we just completed 3 on the weekly. And now we're kind of down with A wave. There's an ABC wave count in a wave 4. And B could be over. All right, may not be. It looks like it is. And then C usually takes it down into the target zone. So based on this situation here, we notice we have a red PTF here and here. So we're still heading down. And we're getting close to a point of inflection, which is usually the difference between the recent high and low. And that would be this area here. So let's see how it responds there. All right, we have a red owl over here. Now, here's what's interesting. 15% of the time, if we go to the weekly chart on the far right, 15% of the time, waves 4 end in this red area when they're drawn like we draw them. 70% of the time, they go here. So you have a 15% chance that wave 4 is over. Just saying. Okay, so if we make a new high from here, that's going to be one of those 15. But with this red here, we're going down a little lower, but that's only indicating down here. So just a little bit lower based on that. Doesn't mean it can't keep going, but you got to kind of see what it's going to do in the point of inflection. So that's kind of where we're at now. If you want to be short on a long-term trade, put your stop, you know, pretty high up here and let it roll. You're either going to get stopped out, and if that's the case, you do want to get stopped out because that means it's making another high. Or if this is the volatility of a correction, eventually it should work its way down. So that's kind of my play on it right now. If you're short on that, I would probably make it a more long-term short. All right, HPQ. HPQ. Let's see how that one's doing this week. All right. So on this one here, all right, a little different than Microsoft because we don't now have a red owl like we did several weeks ago or months ago. So probably a 3, here's your 4, and here's your 5. So, you know, there it is right there. So we're already getting up there into a wave 5. Let's quickly take a look and see, just based on this here, what our extension levels look like here. And you can certainly see using fibs, we're already in the target zone. Now, let's go and see if the lower time frames help us see if maybe we're going to go a little higher or this is the end. And this is where using multiple time frame analysis is really helpful because now we can take a look at the different time frames and see what the momentum is doing. So if we first go to the chart in the center, which is our daily chart here, interesting. We had a greed bar. See this G? That's based off the ERI. So that's showing we have a little bit of excessive greed and the market now has formed an inside price bar. And basically whichever way it breaks out on Monday will be pretty determining for the next 3 to 5 price bars. So we can watch that. But this is crucial. Look at this. We have green and green. So the 75% indicator here is indicating that we're going to have one more high. Okay, so therefore you should feel fairly comfortable staying with this trade. However, once we make a brand new high in here, move your stops up pretty close, okay? All right, let's see what else we got cooking here. All right, let's see. Buffett just took a $4 billion stake at HPQ. Well, you know, Buffett's kind of an interesting fella because he doesn't always buy for the short term. He's buying more for the long term. And that's the way he works. A lot of times he'll buy actually when a market's going down because that's when the value is. And he looks for value. So for short-term traders, it's not always the best thing to do what Buffett's doing because we're trying to make money on a much shorter time frame than he is. All right. But thank you for that information. Always helpful. All right. So let's see what we got. XBI. Let's take a look at XBI for Patricia here. Okay. So I kind of like this one. And I'll tell you why. It's had a nice move to the downside. So I always like to get into trends when they reverse and go up. And the idea is what we try to do is kind of connect enough dots. So we're kind of making sure we time that properly. Let's open up here the weekly chart on this one and kind of get an idea of where this sits in terms of a retracement. So remember the Elliott wave. This is 3. So the question is 4 over? And if so, then we want to be poised to go long for wave 5, right? I mean, that's exactly what we want. So let's check and see if we've had a good enough retracement. So where am I going to put the retracement amounts here? Good question. Let's try them from here on this one to here. And that's pretty conservative. So we did pretty well on that one. Let's go down here and see if it was a longer term. It's even better. Okay, so that's probably where we're at. So we are in the retracement area. So that's one dot connected. All right, now this is a weekly time frame. So this is kind of giving us the long-term synopsis on this. The other thing I like about this is clarity. All right, this is a nice wave 3 move up. Easy to see. Wave 4 has to have usually an ABC correction unless it's a more complicated correction or complex. So I see the A, right? I see the B, and here's our C. I love that, okay? Very clear. That's the second dot connected. All right, the dot that's not connected is we do not have a green owl, but you know we won't until this trend really kicks in. So if we want to get in early, we have to sometimes go against the owl on the long-term time frame. But what I like is we no longer have a red PTF. Now, if the PTF was red, I'd say don't go long. But with the PTF yellow, neutral, that's a good sign. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart and see how that's looking. All right, I'm going to open this one up. We're going to see more price bars per given time period than we're going to see on the weekly, because there are. All right, so this is your 3. All right, this is your A that we looked at on the weekly. This is your B, and this is your C for a 4, right? What I like about this is 2 things. The momentum on this time frame has changed, and that's a good thing. So we have got this basically going to the upside. And we have, look at this, a bullish pyramid. All right, so that's an entry. So XBI so far is going on my favorites list as a long trade. Now, where do you put your stop? I suggest putting it down here. You're getting in early enough. You know, your target's going to be way up here. So putting a stop at the bottom is nothing wrong with that. Lower your trade size, do the trade size calculations so you have the correct trade size based on your account value. So if you get stopped out, you get stopped out at no more than a 2% loss based on the account size you're trading with. Very important. Trade size is everything. So in this case here, put it down here. Don't use this pyramid, okay, because it's higher than the point of inflection. So if you come down here, you could get stopped out on that pyramid. The only way you want to get stopped out is if that is not the bottom. So put it way down here. Let's quickly take a look at our 60. Okay, the 60 has a green. That's a good sign, but it has a red owl. So here's the great thing about using something like the 60-minute time frame now for our final timing analysis. Do not go long until this turns green, okay? Because this may come down a little bit more and you can get a better price. So by using 3 time frames, we took a look to see if the wave 4 correction on the weekly had satisfied what it needed to satisfy to end up in the target zone. Answer is yes. We looked at the weekly, no longer a red PTF. Good. We looked at the weekly owl. It is red, but it will always be red when we try to go for an early entry off a bottom like that. Daily chart. Green momentum, green pyramid, no longer a red PTF, and there's no longer an active P pyramid to the downside. It's up now. Good. All right. XBI, all you have to do is wait for a green owl and you are good to go. So that is one, probably with any luck, I think you'll probably be in that before we meet again next week. So I'm liking that. Okay. All right. Let's keep going here. All right. John, how are you? How about a little Exxon Mobil? Let's take a look here. Good old Exxon Mobil. All right. So definitely on a tear to the upside. Check out the weekly chart. Okay, very strong momentum in the owl. All right, we've had a number of pyramids in a row, kind of, but you know, I don't think this is bearish momentum here. So we've got momentum increasing, which is a good sign. We don't have a green PTF, but it's not red. Okay, and we have here a very bullish with a stop here. Okay, so you do have bearish momentum if we make another high here, which is what this is saying it's going to do. So here's the way I would play this. All right, and we have bullishness here. So you could certainly be long this. It's a little probably late to get long, so hopefully you've been long for a while. On the next high, watch this PTF. If it turns yellow with this kind of bearishness, make sure your stop is right here. Okay. If it starts to correct, because it could correct, we could get a correction down into the 60s. And so that's what you want to be careful about on a long position here. So if you're waiting to go long, wait for this baby to correct. Okay. It will. And you'll get a better price, I'm sure, on that. Okay. So that's kind of the way I would play that. All right. Al, E-T-S-Y. Etsy. I think we looked at that last week, right? Only because it's such a unique symbol, E-T-S-Y. Easy to mistype it too. All right, so this bad boy coming down. All right, I think when we looked at it last week, we had all these pyramids and it's still coming down. We have red on the owls all across, red, red, and red. This is showing that after the correction, we're going higher. So this is a wave 4. This is a 3. The only problem is we're just not sure it's over yet. So don't do anything with this yet until these turn green, and then make sure these remain yellow. Yellow's good. And then we want to take out at least the pyramid, because the stop on the down. See, this has been a tremendous downtrend. Okay. If you entered here, your stops trail by going on top of the pyramids. Okay. So you would have been taken out here. And once you have 4, you don't re-enter, because now you're getting very close to a bottom. So I would say, let's see if this holds as a bottom. And if it does, then the momentum should turn around. If not, we'll make another low, and you'll be glad you're not in it, because the owls kept you out. And then when the owls turn around, that will be a better time. So let's put this on the watch list, but it's a no-go right now to the long side. And if you've been short, have your stop right on this pyramid here. All right, so Etsy, you're short. Let me just give you the stop on that so you have that. So the stop on that one is going to be, got to make sure I get my cursor in the right area there for that. All right, high of 144.95. So 144.95 is where your stop should be on a short position. Okay, very good. All right, let's keep going here. Costco. Costco should be, going up like crazy, because, that's just been one of these retailers that just has been doing great. And sure enough, here it is here. Interesting, because we had in this little bit of a pullback here, and now we're making new highs. Kind of interesting. It looks like the PTF is now turned to green. We got 2 pyramids up here. Great trade here. Check this out. Look at the stops right up here. Stopped you out here. So you could have gotten in, 330, 335, rode it up to 550, out. Now you can go back in. All right. So nothing wrong with that. The only problem now is you got to be a little bit careful. Hopefully you got in a little earlier, because we're probably getting up to a point where wave 3 on the weekly is almost done, because we're getting bearish divergence. So it can go up higher, and it's signaling here it's going higher in here. So I would stay with the position. I'd put a stop right under here right now. Okay, that's where I put the stop. And that is Costco. Let's take a look at Home Depot. Unlike Costco, Home Depot is coming down. Okay, so what's going on with this one? Well, it looks to me like it's in a wave 4 on the weekly chart, major 4. Okay, so here is what's interesting is, here's the little hiccup that we had during the COVID. Notice how it recovered and now kind of looks not too bad, right? So where are we now? All right, so we've got a green PTF, red. So we're at 3, we're in 4. I don't see a big ABC here. I only see a straight leg down. So probably A, maybe we're still in. So where does that leave us in terms of a target for this particular correction? Well, let's draw this out here. And it's going to be pretty extensive, I think. So we're probably talking anywhere from a wave 4 ending between 266 and 172. So this is, if this is an A wave and this is a 3, then this is going to be a B and probably a C. Something like that. Now, we never know if it's going to go into a complex correction. You can just never know that until the complex correction is underway. But in a case like this, we always plan for an ABC. And so that's kind of where it's at now. So if you go long on B wave, be careful. That's temporary, according to the long term. That may, could last a few months, but it is temporary. So what's the short term charts? Pretty bearish on the daily still. Little pickup on the, I would say, 60-minute. So we could be heading up to a point of inflection just based off this high at 340 or 360 right around there and here. So probably heading up to around this area here, maybe 325. And then it's got to decide what it's going to do. So watch for this to turn green. If the owl turns green here, then that means we're going up probably a little bit more. And that would mean probably 343 to 373. Okay, so be aware of that. And that could be interesting if that happens. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. All right, let's see. Okay, there are a lot of them are coming in here. So give me a second here. All right, Eleanor, BGFV. BGFV. Love it. It's great having everybody here. Give that a second to load. Okay, so this one's kind of an interesting one. Green PTFs across the board. Green, green, green. Okay, messy chart. Very messy. But let's take a look at the current momentum on this one. So we got a bullish pyramid and green and green. So that's a go. So if you're thinking about a long trade, okay. Let's take a look at the daily. All right, we can't go long right now until this goes green. But if you're long already, then you want to have your stop again at the very bottom. But let's see if that is a good place to have your stop or a good place to take a trade. So based on this current move up, let's see where the fibs take us here. Nope, don't want to draw it there. Give me 1 second. Let's shoot for somewhere right around here to here. All right, that's a pretty extensive move to the downside. All right, very big move to the downside. So this should end at any time, but this is still very bullish. Okay, so that causes me a little concern at this point on this one. But I think if this turns green here, it's good to go. And I'd put my stop at the bottom. So it might not turn green until it gets up here, which is fine. If you wanted to wait and be conservative to clear this, that's good. And then you should get, I would say, above 50 at some point on that. Okay. PTF's calling at least 48. This will say probably if you drew the fib extensions in after the bottom here, that we're probably going to get into the 50s. So I like a long trade. Let's put this down as one to put on the watch list. BGFV for a long trade when the owl turns green on the daily. Okay, thank you for that, Eleanor. Good. All right, Al, CBRE. We looked at that one before too, last week, I think. Keep them coming. Gotta love it. All right, CBRE. All right, so in this one, it is in a corrective mode. So it's probably heading down to a wave 4 retracement here, Al, at some point. And it could be pretty substantial. So let's see where we're talking about roughly. So I think probably you're looking probably $78 to 57 before it's over. Okay, that's kind of where that's going. All right, that's CBRE. STLD, STLD, and this one is for John as well. All right, so we looked at this one last week, and notice on STLD, I'm going to open up the weekly chart for a moment so we can take a look and see what we did last week. So on this one here, we reached the wave 5 target zone on this move up. So 3, 4, A, B, C, nice and clear, boom. Okay, but now what's going to happen? We do have bearish divergence. Now, here's what's interesting. If this owl, and it's close, gets higher than this, then this is now the new wave 3. And then this would be a minor 4, minor 3 inside a major wave 3. But that has got to go higher than this. Could that happen? It could. All right, but we are in the target zone. So let's pay attention and see what's going to happen. So we're in the target zone. The PTF is green on the daily chart. So you want your stop right here. On the next high, move your stop here or wherever the pyramid is, and I'd even scale out if this turns yellow. Because after this ends, it's going to correct. Even if it's a wave 3, it's going to correct into a wave 4. But this looks like so far it's a wave 5. And I think probably be interesting to see if it's enough to push this up higher to form a new wave 3 on the histogram here. So for right now, that's how I would play it. So let me just get the data window here. Stop needs to be below this pyramid at 68.80. When the PTF goes yellow, scale out a half. That's the way I would do it. So when prices get above the highest high in that green area, it should turn yellow and scale out. If it remains green, stay with the trade with a full position. Okay, that's STLD. All right, CZR for Al. CZR. Al, you came well prepared today. A lot of stocks here. All right, let's see what we're going on this. Hopefully you're short on this one, Al. All right, right away, red owls across the board. Red pyramids fairly much across the board. We got one here, one forming. I don't know if you can see that at home. It's yellow. Red, 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 yellow. So short term, we're going down up below here, which probably looks like a new low. All right. So again, I don't know how long you've been short on this. Okay. But if you're still short, then you want to be pretty aggressive at scaling out and trailing your stops because of the bullish divergence here. So we're probably due for some type of uptrend. But for right now, the path of least resistance is down. And that's CZR. All right. BGFV. Let's take a look at that bad boy. You guys liking this? Is it fun? I love this stuff. I could do this all day. In fact, we probably will. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, BGFV. All right, we looked at this last time. Well, I think we looked at this fairly recently here. Okay, so again, this is one where it's starting to possibly climb out of a bottom. It definitely retraced a lot more than normal, 15% of the time. They go out of or go beyond the 70% high target range. 50% they fail and are short. 15% they go long. So we're in that long area. Now, we still got a fairly good active pyramid to the downside, so we haven't broken this support yet that occurred on the way down. So you may want to break for that, wait for that. Green, 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 green. I would not wait for this, and as soon as this turns green, go. Okay? So I like BGFV. We looked at that one before, I guess, and that's still pretty good. I don't know. I think I might have gotten off on that one. All right, let's see. All right, let me just see. Did I do them all? Nope, nope, nope. Hold on one second. All right, if you like this, please give us a like on that. All right, I think STT is our next one. All right, let's see. And then White Lion, which is Grayson, I'll go to you next. All right, so this one is in a short mode as well. Red owl, red pyramids, and red on two of the PTFs, the long term and the short term. So let's open up that weekly for just a second. So yeah, it's still heading down at this particular point. Kind of a messy weekly chart, isn't it? See, when I see them like this and they're kind of like a little weird like that, I kind of avoid them. But you can take what I call a PTF scalp trade. That's a trade based off this indicator alone. So when this is red, you can enter and that's your target. And you don't need the Elliott wave for that, okay? Because this has a 75% probability. Now, with this indicator, the key is where you put the stop. So you got to put it on this pyramid here. Okay, you got to put it as high. You could take that. I think you got about a 2-to-1 risk to reward on that. So you could definitely do that. And you got red across the way. So STT looks pretty good for a short term or a long term short. Okay, STT, long term short. I'm going to write that down. STT, long term short. Okay, that's one I might take. I like that. All right, let's keep going here. All right, next one is Grayson for you, ATEN. ATEN. Let's see what that's taking a look at. ATEN. Okay, so we looked at this one before. It was down in its target range, and now it looks like it's turning bearish again. Okay, so if you're in it, all right, your stop hopefully will be down here at the bottom, the very bottom. Maybe we're just getting a little bit of a test on that bottom, but we got to be careful. Do not enter to the long side now. Do not do it, because right now this is red, and this is red. So let's see if the bottom holds. We're right at the inflection point. If it goes down a little further, do not go in until we have momentum coming back up, which means green, green, yellow, or green. Okay, so it looks like short term we're still going down. If you're long on this, let's see if that bottom holds. You definitely eventually want to be long, because you got a green PTF on the weekly chart, and you're going into wave 5 at some point. Just not sure wave 4 is totally over yet. Okay, there's your ABC. So I think probably this could be a bottom here, but let's see if it holds during the next move down. Okay, so ATEN. NTAP. NTAP for out. And let's see how this bad boy is doing here. Okay, so coming down on the weekly, right? Now this is kind of interesting. This is actually higher over here than this. So now that's kind of interesting. So not quite as clear as it was before. I'd say it's coming down. And I don't think it's done yet. So I think it's going to come down to that target zone between 75 and 61. That's where I think it's heading. Then you can possibly maybe wait for the momentum to change and maybe a long position. Not one of my favorites, okay? NTAP. All right, let's see what else we got. OLLI. OLLI. All right, let's see where OLLI's doing here. Okay, we've got red pyramids on the weekly. We've got red on the daily. Nope, I take that back. We got green on the daily, and we got green on the short term. So here's another one. Let's see, maybe we're popping off a bottom here. Kind of interesting. What's the Elliott wave count? Well, look at this. This is a 3 on here. So this is a 3 here. So maybe A, B, C to the downside. Not a lot of history on this one. That's the only problem. Could even be a wave 2. So the question is, should you take a long trade at this particular point? The answer is I would want to be long with caveats, because we have a pretty active pyramid to the downside here. It's not my favorite. I have to be honest with you. All the dots are not connecting. When I go against a weekly chart like this, I cut the position size in half right away. So maybe the best you could plan on for this at this point is a target up in here. But if you put your stop, you might just have 2 to 1 there to get to there, and then see what happens. Don't move your stop up too close, because if you get a pullback, it may go further, and maybe we'll get eventually a run here. But it's dicey. Okay, we need a little bit more information after it reaches the target zone. So OLLI, not my favorite. All right, Key, how are you doing, Key? Let's take a look at you. Not much history on the old U. All right, so right away, green PTF, bearish pyramids, bearish owl on the weekly, bearish pyramids on the daily, but things have improved. And we have some bearish scenarios on the 60-minute. So what do you do with this? All right, well, I'm liking the PTF trade because this is your high here and this is your high here. So it looks to me, and I'm going to grab the data window. So it looks to me like we're going to get above 210. The question is, where does the stop need to go, and have we finished the sell-off? So the answer is not quite yet. All right, this is still very bearish, and we have a bearish active pyramid. All right, this is bullish, but it's pulling back. So if this bottom holds and we get a turnaround in momentum and this turns green, this can stay yellow. That's okay. But I want to take that pyramid out. I don't want any more red pyramids that are active. And I want a green owl down here. And if this is green and this all remains the same, I would go ahead and take the long trade. So I'd put this on a watch list, but no long yet. Okay, good one to look at. All right, let's take a look here. ICE, ICE. Could use a little ice here in San Diego today. It's supposed to be 100 degrees. So ice sounds like a good thing. If you live in Alaska, probably not so much. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, on ice, we definitely got a situation where we're seeing a little bit of drifting on the weekly chart. So here was a high that was put in, and now we're kind of oscillating. We don't really technically have bearish divergence because we don't have another high here. So it's just kind of drifting. Now, this is important because this is showing the drifting is going to into the downside eventually. All right, so that's kind of interesting. So the drifting should yield to more selling pressure. This is kind of interesting because this is much larger than this. All right, but we may be coming up a little bit because we still have a little bullishness here. So what's the 9 yards on this? Well, I think probably it's in a drifting mode. And, you know, maybe it'll drift up to a 134, but eventually, you know, it should drift back down according to the PTF on the daily chart. This is why I love using these indicators in addition to the art software, the pyramids, because they really kind of fill out the story. So I'm not my favorite, okay? If you wanted to take a purely PTF trade down to this target zone, well, then you got to make sure you have the risk to reward, and you kind of don't. So I kind of would pass on that one, okay, on the ICE. All right, BA. Let's see what that bad boy is doing. All right. So, yep. Okay, let's take a look here. Interesting. All right, so what do we got cooking here? 3, 4. Interesting. So this says it's going down more. This looked like a 3. I'd say this is a 1. Probably we will almost come down to the bottom for 2, and then it should take off in 3. So definitely some more shorts on this. If you want to take a short trade, put your stop here. That's a possibility provided the lower time frames are in sync. Let's see. Yep, and they are. Okay, got quite a few pyramids in a row here, but I would turn this into more of a longer term trade and keep my stop here. Okay, so, you know, there you have it. I think a short trade on this. So BA is a short trade, so we'll put that down as one of our winners. Okay. All right, Al, let's see, LPX. LPX. Let's take a look here. Okay, so an LPX. Okay, I'm going to open up the weekly first. Let's see what we got cooking here. All right, so higher high than this, bearish divergence. That's when we have bearish divergence. Okay, so now we're experiencing some selling. So where is this thing going to go? So let's draw a fib retracement here. So this low is not as low as this one, so I can use that on this. So we touched the target zone, but we technically haven't gone red yet. that has to go red to qualify this as a wave 4. So that kind of, here's your A, here's your B. We probably are not done with C, and that C will turn it red. That's my guess on that. Let's see what we got here. So we got red here, and check this out. This answers the question. So 75% probability that this is not the bottom. So we're going back into the target zone. Now, I will say there's no trade to the short side really, unless you trade a very, very short time frame. But on this trade here, the trade's going to be, when it gets into here, the long trade. But, you know, this is a weekly chart, so you're going to have to wait months for this, if not several months. Okay, so yeah, short, stay short. Okay, Al, and I'd say if it takes out this and this turns yellow, start to cover. Okay, and move your stop close. All right, so let's see. All right, let's take a look at JetBlue. Let's see, JBLU. All right, bearish. Short term, eventually returning to highs. So what this is telling us is that we're going to make it a little lower on this on all time frames. Look at the short trade on this, on the 60-minute chart. Great one. But you know, and you're only going to be in that for a week or two. So if you like to trade short-term swings for like maybe a week or so, use the 60-minute time frame. It's great. And then under that, put the lower time frame. And I give you all these time frames in our multiple time frame course. You know. All right, so there we are now, still coming down. So probably, I don't think there's much opportunity left in the short trade. I think you'll get one more. This stop will be moved down to this pyramid if it's confirmed in a little while. So that is probably going to be the end of the short trade. And I would look for bullish momentum coming in for a possible long, but not yet. Okay. All right. So let's do one more and then we'll call it a day here. KBR. I think I got them all. If I missed anything, let me know. And then, Gene, tell me what the winners are. I'll tell you what I've written down, and you tell me what you think as well. Okay, so KBR. Uptrend for sure. Wave 3. Still going up, still going up. But we're starting to see bearish divergence build inside it. You can see it. This is no divergence here. So that's a good sign. Stop on a long-term trade is going to be here. Stop on a short-term trade is here. I think it's too late to go long right now because you're only going to, according to the PTF, go a little bit higher. And at that particular point, look for a correction. Okay, so that's the way I would bullet. Oh, I missed BLDR. Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's so many coming in that sometimes I do miss them. So just let me know, okay? BDLR. All right, so this one here is in a correction right now. You can tell on the short-term time frames. We've got red on the 60. We've got a pyramid red as well on the daily and a red owl. And we're coming off of wave 3. So on this one, I'm just going to open this up real quick. Nice. This is nice and clean, this one. So let's go and take a look at a retracement area. Let's see where we want to go. I think I'm going to go from here to here. And we're getting close to the target zone, but it looks like it hasn't reached it yet. So we got a little bit more downside. The target zone is 57.62 roughly to 39.25. And we're still heading down on the smaller time frames. So I don't think here you should take a short. It's too late for the short position, but wait for the long position after we get bullish momentum coming in after the target zone is reached. Okay. All right. All right, so what do we think? I'm showing we got BA as a winner, okay? Put your stop at the bottom. And what was the other one? Was it BGFV or was that, that might have been a, I think that might have been a watch list. All right, so that's kind of okay. So we uncovered a couple good ones and a couple really good ones that could come to fruition a little later. In other words, those are on the watch list. All right. So Gene says NNOX, XBI from Patricia. Okay. And STT, right. STT is the other one. All right. So there you have it. And let's see, BGFV was a good one. BGFV. Yes. Let's take a look at that one. I can't remember if that one was right away or a watch list. I think we're looking at a long position here, but I think the problem was here. We just have to wait for this to turn green. Okay, so as soon as that turns green, you can go long. Cool. All right, everybody like this? What do you think? Fun, huh? It's a good time. And I'll tell you, we pick up a few every week. So great to have everybody here. So please hit the like button. Okay, that helps our stats. And remember, the more people we get, the more symbols we look up. I don't mind staying here and doing this for as long as symbols are coming in. Okay. So the idea is to uncover some good ones and hit the trading week on Monday with all these new opportunities, right? So pretty cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And I'm going to put the link on the recording below for my new book on money management. If you are finding your losses are getting out of control, okay, please get the book. It will help you immensely and show you exactly how to end that problem. And it's all about risk control, calculating your trade size, and so forth. So everything you need is in that book. Then you just need to implement it. It's that simple. All right, everybody, have a good one. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll see you back here next time.